BC Outdoors Sport Fishing Online. Learning with the pros. Brought to you by your Toyota BC dealers.
With today's new downriggers, the high-speed ones, they haul a lot of weight compared to the old ones. So 15-pound cannonballs a couple of years ago was the heavyweight. Well, now guys are going to 18s and even 20s, and I've even heard rumors of a little heavier. So standard, they come with cable or braid, right? The cable is good for the lighter weights, say up to 15 pounds, but once you get into the heavier weights, you want to switch to braid. And a good example of this is you can see this one's already got a fray. It's with the cannonballs tend to spin, and when you hit bottom, they get slack, it wraps around, and any kind of kink or fray you have in your line, it'll cause your line to break and you'll lose your lead. And as everybody knows, leads are very, very expensive now. So what I'm going to show you today is how to take the cable off and put on a braid, right, which will hold an 18 to 20 pound ball. Now the first thing to do is take the lid off the downrigger, which is fairly easy. Slide her off. Away you go. Okay, and you'll notice a wrench and a belt, right? First thing you want to do is take the wrench off, put it somewhere where you're not going to lose it because it's very important, and then you can slide the belt off. Okay, by doing that, when you pull back the brake, it's absolutely free spool. But if you're by yourself, you can just lean into the downrigger and just start pulling. You can recycle it and put it on a spool and give it to somebody else that's fishing lighter weights. So here we are, we've come to the end, and a quick little trick is instead of taking all the wire off, leave about 20 inches or so, or I'm going to leave 3 feet just because I'm working here. Okay, give it a cut. Okay, and we're going to attach the braid right to the end of the wire. Okay, it's a simple knot. It's called an Albright knot, and it's used all over the world for attaching different size lines together. We just happen to be doing cable and braid. And if you put enough braid, that's never going to get to this knot anywhere. I'm going to put about 300 feet, and generally the deepest you fish is 220, 230, but if you are going down 300 feet, maybe put 350 feet on because you don't want to get to this spot. So what we're going to use here is an Albright knot, and basically you're going to loop over the heavy cable. You're going to go through it with a loop, take off about a foot or so, and just start wrapping it around the cable. Nice and tight, not over top, just beside each other. And you're going to give this about, what I do is about a dozen wraps or so. And you'll notice that cable's just coming together nicely. It's just sitting there. Okay. So after you wrap it around to the bottom, you take the end, put it back through the loop. When we started the knot, we came up from underneath. Now we're going down through from the top. Okay, grab both lines, and we're just going to slide all that line that we wrapped around to the top. Won't break, and there you go. It's a nice clean knot. So take your cutters. You can cut that cable off nice and clean, nice and tight. So now you got to put your downrigger back together because you need the counter on because you want to know how much you're putting on. So first thing, put the belt on. Pretty straightforward. Just take the wrench, put it in the bolt. This way. Actually, let's do that a little better. Slide that in, lock. If you have someone around, you can get someone to hold it. If not, just spool it off the top. Start it off nice and slow. Just get it spooling nice. When you're comfortable with everything the way it's working, then you can turn her back on. And I just use my hand to spool it. And I'm watching the counter. Okay, there's 300 feet. To attach the braid to the ball, you don't want to just tie a knot because you need to have stops and stuff like that. So take your braid, come back about 4 feet or so. Doubled up, I've got a loop here. And I'm just going to tie a double overhand knot. Taking our double hand knot, and we formed a big loop. Okay, this so it serves two purposes. One, it gives us a nice double loop to put on our stop bead. Okay, take my gangion, it's tied in a loop, 48 inches or so. We're going to go loop to loop. And then when we tighten it up, we're going to make sure it's not pinching, it's not tight. and it's the little shock absorber. Okay, so now we got another loop at the end here, and this is where we're going to attach our cannonball. You just loop it through, and that's where it lives, just like that. And so when the downrigger comes up, it's going to hit that stop and stop it. Okay, so this is going to leave the cannonball down in the water on most boats about 2 or 3 feet. And now there's lots of tips on the website, BC Outdoors, just like this one. So if you want to find out some other useful stuff, look us up on the net.
Stay connected with BC Outdoor Sport Fishing on the web, on Facebook, and on Twitter.